Hello and welcome to this episode of In Conversation for this week. My name is Dr. Karl. I'm the School's Relation Manager at the University of Exeter. Today I'm joined by two of our current students, Connor and Taylor, who are going to give us an insight into their experiences. Hi Connor, hi Taylor, how are we doing?
Very well, thank you. How are you, Karl?
Doing good, thank you. Great that you've...
I was just going to say, my name's Connor. I'm a fourth year English student here at the University of Exeter.
And my name's Taylor, and I'm a third and final year law student.
Fantastic. That covers my first question, which was going to be, can you tell us who you are, what you're doing? So we're going to be talking about your experiences and reflecting back on your experience at Exeter, in particular University of Exeter. I guess, can you give us a little insight into your last 3-4 years at Exeter and what that's been like?
So Exeter, for me, I think if I had to sum it up in one word, it's going to be home. When I set out to find a university, I knew that I was going to be studying there for 3 years. And so for me, it was important to find a university where I could see myself enjoying it for that full 3 years. And that's exactly what this experience has turned into. The University of Exeter is my home. I absolutely love it here. And so my aim going forward is to stay here as long as possible, hopefully going on to do a master's, for example, and even working at the university in the next year to come.
Definitely. I feel like the University of Exeter is home as well, but I'll take a leaf out of your book, Taylor. I feel like the word that I'd use is opportunity. As well as home, the University of Exeter has provided me with loads of opportunities to kind of branch out from just the university. So I'm a fourth year student. Last year I did a study abroad in Australia. I don't know many other people that have done study abroad at other universities, but it's one of the opportunities that the University of Exeter kind of has and is really supportive of, and also opportunities to work with the university. I've been a research assistant for current academic projects, and yeah, it's been a fantastic place, and I've been able to let myself grow professionally and academically and socially as well.
Absolutely. Just bringing that back into my experience as a law student, we have a community law clinic here, and what that's meant is that for the past year I've been able to put my academic experience as a law student into practice and actually give legal advice to members of the local community, whether they be staff, students, or actually just people that don't have anything to do with the university at all. They come to us with a legal problem which I can help them solve, and so the university fits into the wider community together.
That's great. So you've used some sort of very prime words in terms of home and opportunities, and I want to delve a little bit deeper into that. Looking at, obviously, you've had a sort of a mixed experience, if we can call it that. The last 14 months have changed the way that university life has been, but certainly it would have been different in terms of the opportunities and that home environment that you've described. So I wonder whether we can focus in first on the academic experience that you've had, both pre-COVID and then throughout COVID. What has that been like, and what are your highlights in terms of what you've gained from attending University of Exeter?
Sure. So as an English student, I mean, it's been quite personal, this one. The English department here is fantastic. It's huge. We have a really broad range of academics, but that means that we've got so many different module choices that when I was choosing my university, something that I really valued was this flexibility of choosing lots of different modules in lots of different areas, because I wasn't quite sure what area of English I wanted to specialize in. When I arrived, I didn't necessarily know that English was definitely for me. So in my first couple of years, I did modularity to do some modules. So modularity is doing a module in a different discipline. So I did some modules in drama, and that kind of really rounded my academic experience in English. So English is normally very academics with lectures and seminars, but then I was able to do practical bits and pieces in drama, which was really really interesting. And then in the last year, that's kind of pivoted. We've had this blended approach. So some seminars were completely online, some seminars were a mixture of in-person and online. Some people who could attend in person would be there, and we've had a lot more kind of flexibility in the courses. So it's not necessarily you go to a lecture and a seminar and that's what you do. There's a kind of really broad range of things that we can look at, and then we choose seminars to kind of pick apart at what we found interesting that week, which I think has been a really interesting and fascinating experience of tailoring the course that I'm doing, but also tailoring the content that I'm doing within the course. I'm not sure how it is with a more rigid structure for you, Taylor, in law.
Yeah, so being law, there are obviously lots of regulations and restrictions around what we have to do in order for it to be a qualifying law degree, meaning that I can go on to become a solicitor or barrister. And so the first 2 years of my degree actually were completely scripted for me, in the sense of I had to do these qualifying modules. When it comes to your third and final year, however, you get absolute free reign in terms of whatever modules you want to do. And that's particularly great because your third year counts for 2/3 of your overall classification. So actually the content that you're picking yourself and presumably going to enjoy more and do better in is the content that really makes the difference for your degree. For me in particular, what I would draw as a particular highlight is that the University of Exeter is a Russell Group, and people bounce this term around a lot, and I don't think they actually go into detail with what that means for students studying. For me, that means that we're a research-led university. That means that the people that are teaching me the law are the people who are constantly researching the law, who are proposing new laws, who are criticising the law and saying where the law not just is, but where it's going to go. And so, for example, within family law, one of the academics we have has just helped to pass the Divorce, Dissolution and Separation Bill through Parliament through her research. And so being taught by her on what divorce is, for example, is absolutely incredible because she has quite literally helped to write the law. And that experience hasn't really changed despite moving online. That experience is still the same because we're still being taught by the same amazing people. It just happens to be in a different format. It's not always synchronous learning. It's learning at your own pace, in your own time, in your own time zone.
Yeah, going back to the academic, being a Russell Group university, it's something that this year especially I've been kind of blown away by. One of my professors, Pascal, she is one of the foremost Shakespeare scholars in the country, and in our module this year we look specifically at contemporary performance of Shakespeare. So this module has changed drastically in the last 12 months. But some of the debates we're having are academic debates that are happening in the field right now, and some of the papers that we've been writing as a class we've been asked to kind of set those forward as contributions to actual academic kind of journals and reviews, and we've been asked to kind of help contribute to actual pieces of academic writing that are happening and are being published, which is really exciting.
That's great. So obviously the academic side is an important side to university, but we do have the social experience too. And again, that will have been different pre and post COVID. What are your highlights over the last sort of few years on what that experience has been about and what you've gained from attending university?
So for me, what I've really jumped headfirst into has been student politics, getting involved with our student union, which we call the Students' Guild, and actually using that platform to help make the experience of every student better, whether that be advocating for more inclusive, gender-neutral toilets, whether that be for better prayer rooms or better representation of different diverse types of students on the student staff liaison committees, so the groups of students and staff that get together to change how a subject's taught for the better. I've really enjoyed being involved with that. Running for Vice President Education, even though unsuccessfully, it was a great fun and a great experience to go through, and feeling that I still made an impact, feeling that the policies that I advocate for are being picked up by other people and raising awareness of these causes. And actually there's a really great community of student activists here at Exeter, people who want better and are determined to put the time in to make sure that things are better, and I really love that. But that can be a bit stressful at times, that can be a bit intense, I think, and so at the same time it's been great to just meet up with friends, even if it's been in a socially distanced way this year, just to go for a walk, for example. Exeter's really a great location in that you've only got to take a short 15-minute walk from the centre of Exeter, and you're surrounded by trees and rivers and grass. And if you want to go pick up a kayak and you want to go kayaking out down the River Exe, for example, like I did recently with a friend, all socially distanced, of course, then that's a great way to blow off steam there.
Yeah, it was really interesting watching the campaigns run. You did so well, Taylor.
Thank you.
It was, I thought you were fantastic. But yeah, that especially was a really, it's the side of student life that I'd never fully got behind before, but one of my housemates was running as well, and it was really interesting watching that happen kind of in front of me and watching and like participating in it for the first time. It was really exciting. I have voted before, but it's never been quite as forward as it's been this time. In terms of my social life, I guess I continued with a lot of things that I was doing before I came to university. So I've been very involved in the student theatre and music scenes at the university. In my first year, I was in lots of productions, doing tech, playing the cello in orchestras, and those provide some amazing opportunities. So I went to Germany on a music tour. I did a tour around the UK with Semitones, and we did gigs all over the country. I've been to the Edinburgh Festival with a couple of groups, and hopefully again this year, fingers crossed. So I was able to kind of carry on some of the things that I did before, but then I was able to take a leadership role in a way that I never had before. So I became a vice president of a society, and then I took over kind of an almost guild level managerial role over lots of different societies, which was fantastic as a learning opportunity in a social setting. Another really interesting social thing that I've learned is how to live with people. Before I come from a very small family, it's just me and my dad, and this year I live with 8 other people. So it's all, you learn a lot at university, but also the home environment is also somewhere you do a lot of learning. So that's been a really interesting experience to live with 8 other people, and challenging at points. But it's meant that I've got a grip on things like paying bills and organisation of things that I had no idea would need organising, because I've been looked after quite a lot.
I can imagine the kitchen must be fun with 8 people in the house.
Oh,
so looking ahead, and you've had your experience, or you're experiencing university, and university prepares you or gets you geared up for next steps. What are those next steps? Where are you going, and what has university done to get you there?
So for me, my next step is actually a job at the university. So 2 years of A-levels, 3 years of degree, it's been pretty intense. I eventually want to go on to do a master's and I think PhD, but I think I just need to take a year to calm down a little bit, increase my bank balance, for example. And so I'm going to get a job at the university within their EDI team. That job is what's called a graduate business partnership. These are schemes that the university runs through its career zone, and they are for Exeter graduates only. So it's effectively an internship that the university has reserved just for you. And these can be within the university. So, for example, helping on student voice, a lab assistant, or even the role that I'm in, for example. Or those can even be with local companies that are willing to take on an Exeter graduate. And so there's lots of help in getting these jobs, whether that be through CV workshops, cover letter help. Oh my God, how do you write a cover letter? That was a challenging process. All the way even up to psychometric tests if the job you're applying for happens to need those, for example. So within law, for example, people like to put those tests into place, and the career zone's even got those to help you through those. So there is a lot of support from the central career zone, but there's also support from your own personal tutor. Every student, when they come to the University of Exeter, will be allocated a personal tutor who is effectively that student's first point of call for any concerns, really, whether that be wellbeing and pastoral to academic, or even just the case of, hey, I've got this problem, but I don't know where to go to get this problem fixed. Because there's lots of support here at university, and sometimes actually just finding it can be the daunting task of, oh, I need some extra financial help, where do I go for that? And then your personal tutor can direct you to the Success for All Fund, which you had no idea existed. So yeah.
I like Taylor, I have a job lined up already. I've got a place on the civil service fast stream, and I've been prepared. I was prepared for that kind of process. It's quite a long interview process with online tests and interviews, and then there's like an interview day. All of that, I was really helped by the experiences that I've had at the university. So as well as the graduate business partnerships, there are also student campus partnerships called SCPs, which are, again, internships reserved for students at the university. And so I've been lucky enough to take a couple of those roles. So I've worked in the Digital Humanities Lab at the university, and I've also done things that are active research. So at the moment, I'm working on a research project in collaboration with an Indian university about graphically depicting ancient Indian folk tales, which is really fascinating. It's something that I had no idea about before I started, but now it's so interesting. It's taking up a lot of my free time because I really enjoy learning about it. But in those, they're real applications, so you have to fill out a full kind of application form. You have to go through an interview process, and then sign contracts, and you have line managers, just like you would with any other job. So that's been really helpful. There's also, sorry about this. There's also roles that I've done within the student ambassador scheme that we're doing right now. There's opportunities to kind of progress within that, and that's been really helpful. You had to go through an interview and a presentation, but then also the Career Zone, who are our kind of careers guidance team. They run an award called the Exeter Award and the Exeter Leaders Award, both of which have a component of active learning. So you have to be you have to do work or have a leadership position, but there are also some kind of leadership seminars that you go to, or project management, or things like that, doing psychometric testing. And they really kind of set you in good stead for going into the business world, if that's the step you choose to take next. I couldn't recommend the Exeter Award and the Exeter Leaders Award enough, because they're nice little additions to the CV, but the things you learn from them are things that just kind of seep into your soul and will really help you without necessarily remembering specifically that you learned something at the seminar, but it will just kind of be an intrinsic part of your being going forward.
Fantastic. Taylor, Connor, thank you very much for giving us an insight into your lives today, and giving us showcasing what you've gained out of your university experience, and good luck with those next steps wherever you go. And thank you for listening to this episode today. We'll be back next week, so please do join us. But for now, thank you very much.